Good evening. For the thousands of people trying to get back to London from the Middle East, there was some hope this afternoon with a limited number of flights resuming. But it could take a long time for people to get seats booked. And in the meantime, that means staying in a region which is seeing a third day of bombings. Holidaymakers told us they feel trapped and scared by all the uncertainty. Meanwhile, Iranian Londoners here are torn between celebration and concern at the strikes being carried out by Israel and the US. We'll have more on that in a moment. But first, here's our political correspondent Simon Harris on those stranded amid the fighting.
3,500 miles from London, Dubai has become a destination of choice for Brits in search of winter sun. But now thousands of holidaymakers are trapped in luxury hotels in a war zone. 6-month-old Ronan won't remember this moment, but his parents from North London won't forget it.
The whole of Saturday night, hearing missiles being intercepted and the room vibrating, that was, probably the very worst of it.
Another couple, Katie and her husband Alex, travelled to Dubai from Essex for a big family holiday.
So this is the space that we're in. So we have got a small living area.
On Saturday night, their flight home was cancelled as the United Arab Emirates came under attack.
It was pretty scary, to be honest. We could hear missiles coming over our head during the night. We also had a really loud alert come on all our phones just before 2 o'clock in the morning. It's the loudest thing I've ever heard.
Even my wildest dreams, I never thought, okay, Dubai would be in the sort of, equation or in the firing line as well.
Nishit, a chartered accountant from Greenwich, is on a stopover on the way home from India. He and his wife and daughter were close by when the first missile landed.
And we were in Palm Jumeirah as well, quite near to, in fact, right next to the Fairmont, which obviously was under attack later that evening. So that was quite horrifying.
None of the Londoners stuck in their hotels knows when they'll be able to leave.
My son has quite a severe milk protein allergy. I've brought a bit extra of his formula with me as an emergency, luckily enough, but probably only enough to get me through till Friday evening. So ideally, as the days go on, I have that worry hanging over me as well.
I think it's sometimes for people, they texting me saying, oh, well, at least you can top up your tan and, a few more days in Dubai isn't the end of the world. But in reality, we're in a high-rise city block. We can't leave our rooms. We've got, a young child that we want to get home.
Very desperate, especially my wife. She's really stressed and anxious. So, we're just staying tight in the hotel, following all the protocols, whatever, we are being guided by the UK embassy or the UAE local authorities.
We just want to go home, and I think not knowing is the worst thing.
Tonight there was a glimmer of hope. The airline Emirates said it was hoping to operate a limited number of flights from Dubai, and an Etihad plane from Abu Dhabi should land at Heathrow later this evening. Simon Harris, ITV News.
Well, our political correspondent Simon Harris has joined us in the studio. Simon, what advice is there for anybody that's currently stranded abroad?
Well, at the moment, the government is telling Britons in the Gulf region to register online with the Foreign Office, and so far more than 100,000 have done so. Sir Keir Starmer said the government was looking at all options, but with much of the airspace still too dangerous to fly in, there is no clear evacuation plan at the moment. Now, aside from the logistics challenges, the Prime Minister is also facing political pressure over his decision to allow the Americans to use British air bases to launch bombing raids on Iranian missile sites. Some London Labour MPs are far from happy. And although we've not heard from the mayor yet, his spokesperson said Sadiq Khan was deeply concerned by the conflict.
OK, Simon, thanks very much.
Now, in the last hour, more explosions have been heard in the skies over Dubai as missile strikes continue across the Gulf. It means flights keep being cancelled, stranding tens of thousands of British tourists. A few commercial planes have made it out, including one to Heathrow this afternoon. There, our political correspondent Simon Harris spoke to families very relieved to be home.
For Londoners on the flight from Dubai, home sweet home never felt sweeter. The Emirates A380 was one of only a handful of airliners to make the journey to London in the last 24 hours. In Heathrow's Terminal 3, the relief was palpable.
I'm so happy, honestly. I'm never leaving. I'm so happy to be back.
For the Gulam family, it was the end of an ordeal, and they couldn't be more grateful to the airline.
He's only 12 years old, and he was alone, but thanks to the Emirates, they look after my son, and I can't express my feelings.
You are happy to see him home?
Yeah, thank God.
It was so terrible, but I was with Emirates, and Emirates take care of me.
Many of the passengers had witnessed the explosions as Dubai came under fire.
It's hard to explain because I was actually born and raised in Sri Lanka, so I can experience this at a young age. But it was it takes back memories, like it literally takes you back to your childhood.
Yeah, it was really, really frightening, but I'm pleased to be home. We did what we could in this time, but yeah, it's been, I'm just so pleased to be back.
As well as tearful reunions, there were emotional goodbyes too, among strangers forced to share a terrifying experience. Kevin, Abby and their son Bo would rather have flown to Newcastle, but were just grateful to be somewhere other than Dubai.
Honestly, to be there, it was petrifying. It was terrifying.
So we flew out of Newcastle. We tried to get a flight back in. There was no flight, so we just closest one we could get just to get back on English soil.
James, who works in London as a software engineer, was on a stopover in Dubai on his way back from Singapore.
First night was really scary because we didn't really know what was going on for a while, and then eventually after 8 hours of queuing or something at the airport, I ended up on a bus to a hotel, and it was a really fancy 5-star hotel, but when you're on the 21st floor and you hear some booms and then the alert goes off on your phone that there's a missile warning, I don't think I've ever been down in the lobby faster.
The Khalids were delighted to be heading back to North London.
I'm glad to be home, especially my children. They're happy to be home as well.
But there are many more Londoners still stuck in the Gulf, desperate to find a way out. Simon Harris, ITV News, Heathrow.
Good evening. During a week of volatile international politics, including US President Donald Trump taking yet another swipe at London's mayor, today Sir Sadiq Khan focused his attention closer to home. He was on Oxford Street, revealing more details on the pedestrianisation plans that were approved last week and could see all traffic gone by the autumn. The end goal is to make the area safer and more attractive to visitors, but those who live and work there say the plans ignore locals in favour of big business. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
It's been a long time coming, but the ban on traffic in Oxford Street could be just months away. And almost a decade after he first floated the idea, the mayor is excited.
It'll be traffic-free, no buses and no taxis, no pedicabs, no bikes, no private hire vehicles, no cars.
But many residents are less thrilled. Karen lives around the corner and fears pedestrianising Oxford Street will turn her road into a rat run.
It's equivalent of taking a stretch of the M25 and saying we'll turn it into a garden, but you've got no plan for the traffic. And all that traffic will then displace into what is equivalent of local villages. We've got 50,000 residents in the area. We've got mums with school kids.
Cyclists too are worried. They want guaranteed bike lanes in roads which parallel Oxford Street.
It's a really important artery through London at the moment. It's a TfL recognise it as really needed at the moment to get people moving. So it would be a big loss if it wasn't replaced and cyclists didn't have proper alternatives.
Cycle couriers will also be banned.
Obviously, diverting the traffic will have an impact, but we don't know really. But whatever happens, we'll adapt because we always do.
900 metres of Oxford Street will be transformed, stretching from Selfridges to IKEA. The ban on traffic is expected to come into force before the end of summer, but it could be 2028 before the full makeover of Oxford Street is finished. The final look still hasn't been decided, but the business community can't wait.
We've made no bones that Oxford Street needs a little bit of TLC, but what this scheme will allow us to do is engage with the customer far more differently than we've been able to do, so that we can really wow them. We can get them here so they can enjoy their time here and spend the day here, not just pop along for shopping.
We know the last time there was a car-free day in the West End that footfall and spend went up significantly. I think footfall increased by 50% and spend was up by 2/3. So you can see just from that one day the impact it would have when it's brought into force at the end of the summer.
The plans also include turning the revamped Oxford Street into a venue for sports events and fashion shows.
OK, so Simon, confidence from Labour on those plans, but a bit of a bombshell for the party elsewhere in London today.
Yes, certainly a surprise. Reform UK held a news conference today to make what it said would be a significant announcement for London. Well, Nigel Farage's big reveal turned out to be the defection of a Labour politician who used to be a very significant and prominent Labour politician in the East End. Sir Robin Wales was once the leader of Newham Council and later its directly elected mayor, and he was especially prominent during the Olympics. But now he's got no time for his old party.
The Labour government said we'll build 300,000 homes a year. Not a chance. Not a chance, and never was a chance. And the result is rents will go up, and people who are currently suffering with high rents are going to suffer even further in the private sector. The NHS, they pour billions down it, and nothing happens.
Sir Robin used to be very new Labour. He was once described as Tony Blair's favourite council leader, but 8 years ago, the Newham Labour Party deselected him as their candidate for Mayor of Newham in favour of a more left-wing candidate. Well, today, Labour said of his defection is if this counts as a major London announcement, then reform was scraping the barrel.
Oh, OK. Simon, thank you.
Good evening. Getting knives off the streets has occupied so much of the Mayor's time, but children are so worried for their safety that Sadiq Khan is being urged to put special bleed kits on London buses. We spoke to the mother of schoolboy Kellyanne Bokassa, who was stabbed 27 times on a bus in Woolwich. She said the kit might have saved her son's life. The safety of young people has been a hot topic on London's Youth Assembly. Buses are the most popular way for them to get around London. But worryingly, we spoke to drivers who told us they didn't even have basic first aid. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
It's not often politicians defer to teenagers, but that's what happened at City Hall.
What we're asking is bleed kits in major bus stations and then pilot installation of bleed kits on selected bus routes.
Bleed kits are emergency medical packs to deal with stab wounds. They include equipment like tourniquets, pressure bandages and dressings which help stem the flow of blood. In the public gallery at City Hall were Meir and Maxwell from the London Youth Assembly, which came up with the proposal for bleed kits at bus stations and on buses.
This idea is to really improve the security that young people feel whilst travelling on TfL services and to hopefully save many young lives of people who do get stabbed on buses or stabbed on high streets around bus stops.
It's something that is in the minds of lots of young Londoners a lot of the time, especially if they're travelling through hotspots. We know that at the moment there have been issues with schools potentially fighting and things like that, and therefore it's something that keeps recurring. It's an ever-present threat for some.
In January 2025, Kellyanne Bokassa, who was 14, was stabbed to death on a number 472 bus at Woolwich. The two 16-year-old boys who attacked him with a machete were given life sentences. Kellyanne's mum, Marie, wonders if a bleed kit might have saved him.
Personally, I think it's a brilliant idea. Unfortunately, my son didn't benefit from that, but I think it's very good. I think he could have been alive if this was in place earlier. And unfortunately, Kellyanne didn't have anyone couldn't help him because they didn't know how to.
Transport for London said it was constantly looking at how best to keep people safe, and the advice from the NHS is that standard first aid kits are sufficient for the majority of wounds. I asked half a dozen drivers here at Canning Town if their buses had first aid kits. They all said no. One told me if a passenger needed medical treatment, they would declare an emergency on the radio and an ambulance would be called.
It's unthinkable. You would have thought that, that's an opportunity that would have been seized a long time ago, So, yeah, there's definitely space here where the authorities should step up and actually start thinking about the part they're playing in the fight against youth violence.
All those in favour of...
The London Assembly unanimously backed the idea of bleed kits on buses and at bus stations, but TfL said it had no plans to roll them out based on expert advice. Simon Harris, ITV News, City Hall.